Happy Friday. It's been a while since I did something this stupid. That's right, I'm back to do another 24-hour readathon. Even just saying those words hurts my eyes. I feel sleepy already. This time around, I'm going to be reading the full series of The Secret Dreamworld of a Shopaholic, or as I always thought it was called, Confessions of a Shopaholic, but apparently that's just the movie title. This is by far the most ambitious of these I've ever done. Before, my longest series I read in 24 hours had 3,000 pages, or just under 3,000, and even that I didn't quite finish it in 24 hours. That was the series of unfortunate events. This one has nearly 4,000, so what makes me think I'll be able to do this? The Shopaholic series has 9 pretty substantially sized books in it. There is also a little mini 10th one that's like 20 pages that I have downloaded ready on my Kindle as well. It's like 3.5, it slots in there somewhere. The final book in the series is a Christmas one, so if it takes me longer than 24 hours to read it, maybe it'll take me all the way up until Christmas, and then that'll be perfect timing. Up until this moment, I have only ever read the first 2 books in this series, and I've never actually physically read them with my eyes before. I had the audiobook of Confessions of a Shopaholic. I'm pretty certain it was called Confessions then, and I used to listen to it a lot, particularly when I was in hospital for a while. When I first started university, like 13 years ago, I got a really bad case of glandular fever. I missed the whole first term of university, and I was in hospital for a week and in a lot of pain, and so I listened to the audiobook of Confessions of a Shopaholic on repeat. And I remember loving it so much, but also it would make me laugh so much, and laughing really hurt. So it was this like struggle of wanting to listen to it to distract me, but then it was actually making the pain worse. I have seen the movie. I can't remember whether or not I liked it, but it is very much the book that has its place in my heart. So the Shopaholic series is about a girl called Becky Bloomwood who is bad with money. Very bad with money. She has a serious retail therapy addiction. She cannot stop buying shit that she can't afford. She's like maxed out all of her credit cards, and she just keeps buying stuff in like a panic. And I love that about her. I totally relate. That was me as a student. I would just panic about the fact I was in my overdraft, and so I would distract myself by going and buying more drinks, or like buying clothes that I couldn't afford. Just put it on the overdraft. It'll be fine. It won't be fine. Don't do that. So she's like a hilarious Bridget Jones-esque main character. There is also a love story in it. In this second book, which again I had listened to the audiobook not quite as many times, but it was another of my regulars. This one is set mostly in New York, which is fun. But beyond there, I have no idea. I have no idea what's coming other than the fact the titles do kind of give things away. We have Shopaholic Ties the Knot, we have Shopaholic and Baby, so I think I'm seeing marriage and babies in her future. So there you go, I am very excited to read all of these books. It has been a long time, even since I listened to the audiobook of the first one, and I think it's going to be fun. Like, it's always a slightly different experience reading something physically that you've listened to loads of times as an audiobook, so I think it's going to be kind of trippy seeing those words that I can hear in my head so well on the page. I'm so excited. I'm nervous about the staying up for 24 hours bit because I know I don't enjoy that, but I'm so excited about reading. So I will see you bright and early to see how far through this series we can actually get in 24 hours. I do have a feeling I won't quite be making it to Christmas, but you never know, a girl can dream. That's what Becky did, and it got her in fuckloads of trouble. See you soon! Let's bloody do this.
Melody, I just need to find my way.
I feel so nostalgic already. I can hear this being read out. What's so weird though is that the very opening, it opens with her receiving a letter from her bank, and it's saying that she's just graduated from Bristol University. And last time round that I read this, when I listened to the audiobook, I was in my first year at uni, so she was, you know, a few years ahead of me. Whereas now reading this, I'm like, oh, she's just graduated, she's a baby. I'm older than her and I still haven't got my shit together.
To regret the word.
And I remember this, she comes up with all these excuses for why she isn't paying back her overdraft, like that she's broken her leg, or that she has glandular fever. So it's like really early in the book you get this letter. I'm sorry to hear that you have glandular fever. And I listened to that when I was in hospital with glandular fever. Memories. Horrible memories. I was very ill and unhappy. The fact that she's like so posh, makes it really funny to me. But definitely this would fit into the category that I talked about with like Emma Tobias. A lot of people don't like books about rich people's problems, and this is very much like a privileged girl having money problems. It's not like scary money problems. So if that's not your thing, you wouldn't like this, but I do find it hilarious. Okay, I know I just said it's not scary money problems, but like the amount of debt she's in is terrifying. I guess what I mean is like she still has parents who have a home that she can go and stay with, and she has rich friends. It's not like scary she's going to be on the street, but it is scary like, girl, how did you get yourself in that position? And yes, I am dressed like Father Christmas in my red pajamas.
Melody, I just need to stay away.
There are even posher characters in this book called Vanilla and Tarquin. I'd forgotten about them. I need some tea. The names in this book are so good. So the main character, Becky, I know I was making fun of her for being privileged. She's supposed to be just like middle class. Her parents aren't like wildly rich or anything, but she's privileged enough that I explained it earlier. But she has this friend Suze who is supposed to be like posh, posh, posh. And it's Suze's cousins who are called Vanilla and Tarquin, and now they've just gone out for dinner, or sups as they call it, which I'm feeling embarrassed about because I call it sups too. And they keep bumping into their friends who are called things like Tory and Mungo. And it's so true because that genuinely is what posh people are called. And there's a Binky and a Minky. I went to a very posh school, and I genuinely went to school with a Tory. I mean, I probably went to school with lots of Tories, but one was actually called Tory. And then we had like a Bish, a Wiz, a Tink. So these names aren't even as ridiculous as the ones I actually knew. No offense to any of those people if they're watching, they were all very lovely.
In the final round of a lifelong.
Okay, well this is disappointing. The book was written in 2000, but have just come across a bit of transphobia, which is jarring to see. And now she's body shaming someone. 2000 was a mean year. Being embarrassed on Becky's behalf is hungry work, so it's breakfast time.
Stuck in the night with no end. But I'll be
Oh no, I remember this bit. Oh.
Don't take.
When I was at school, someone once told me that when I tie my hair back into a ponytail, I look like a sperm. And that has stuck with me for the rest of my life. That's why I don't wear ponytails very often. And they were right, I kind of do look like a sperm. Also, my hair is just terrible right now. This is what happens to not having haircuts during lockdown. Thanks for nothing, pandemic.
I've been looking for an answer in your inner eye. I've been pulling back the curtains of your paradise. I've been killing all my instincts.
Aw, she's going to the personal finance fair at Olympia. That's where we have the London Book Fair. And also, the Spirit of Christmas shopping fair. She would love that. Oh my god, I've just remembered something that happens either at the end of this book or in the next one that I had literally blocked from my mind because it is fucking horrible. And I've just remembered. Okay, just finished book one. So the gross thing I remembered didn't happen in this. It must be the next book. But the way this book ended is so weird. That's not how I remembered it ending. It's like a complete non-ending. Nothing has been resolved. Like there's one really big cute thing that happens, but in terms of her problems with money, she hasn't really learned any lessons there. So this one took me over 3 hours to read, and this is the shortest one of the bunch. So this day is going to be interesting. I'm going to get dressed and crack on with book two. Can't wait to tell you about the gross thing when it happens. I thought this would be an appropriate top to wear today. Read more books. That's precisely what I intend to do. So quick recap on where we are. In book one, we met Becky Bloomwood, who is really, really, really bad with money. She's a serious shopping addiction. And I loved the book, but like she doesn't learn anything. She just gets a series of like very lucky things happen to her towards the end of the book so that she's okay for now, and she's now got a lovely new romance. So in this one, book number two, she's having a great time. Life has really turned up for her, which is fantastic, and she's been offered a chance to go work in New York. I was supposed to go to New York. Thanks for nothing, pandemic. Also, can we just point out, I was talking earlier about the funny names that posh people have. Somebody worked on this book called Patrick Plonkington Smythe. Is that real? I can't with her. Okay, this is literally me. So they've just had a long car journey. I step out of the car, do a few stretches, and honestly, I already feel fitter and more toned. Accurate. That's always how I feel when I like touch my toes once. Oh my god, the secondhand stress of reading this. I'm so glad that I don't use a credit card. It'd be a disaster. I am loving her attempts to write a book. She's been procrastinating on this for so long and just rewriting the first sentence and not even finishing the first sentence. And now, oh, kettle's just gone on. I don't know if you can hear that.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine, don't worry. And now it's just printed her like progress so far. So she's got like the title, subtitle, her name, a little copyright notion. First edition, first draft, part 1, chapter 1. Finance is very. That's her comprehensive guide to finance so far. Overall so far, this book is so much more cringe than the first one. There's some just like ridiculous, embarrassing situations that don't feel real, but it's very funny. It also is, I think, funnier. She's just got to New York and she's trying to show that she can fit in and be a real New Yorker. I'll go to the gym and then I'll drink some wheatgrassy healthy stuff and then I'll shoot someone maybe? It's not funny. Okay, so this doesn't make sense. She's just met her boyfriend's mum for the first time and her boyfriend is 34, we learned his age earlier, and she's surprised when she meets his mum that she's older than she expected, probably in her 50s. So she's surprised that she wasn't under 16 when she had him? Something about that maths doesn't work. What you doing? Are you playing Best Fiends? After months of me being completely addicted to Best Fiends, I finally made RG play a level and then he saw how fun it is and now he plays too. We're taking over! It's all going wrong. Okay, the thing that I mentioned earlier, it's about to get revealed. I'm gonna give like mild spoilers throughout this video. Nothing major, but any second now I'm gonna tell you something. There it is. She fucked her cousin! Not the main character. The flatmate fucked her cousin. Why was that a plotline in this with her cousin? It's so gross. It's so gross. I will say that this book could benefit from having a bit more acknowledgement that she is really privileged. So she is kind of supposed to be contrasted with her ridiculously rich flatmate, cousin fucker, who is just like so rich that she has absolutely no idea. So I understand that there's a difference there and that Becky feels a bit like she's trapped because she can't just like sell off an expensive painting that she inherited from her uncle or whatever. But she then just leaves it at that. Like, these people just don't get it. They don't know what it's like to have no money. But Becky doesn't get it either. Like, she is also always going to be okay. She has parents that can help. So yeah, I just think if it was written now, that maybe there would be a bit more acknowledgement that it's very funny and I really enjoy it, but just acknowledging that we're not actually reading about genuine money fears. And when she says things like, they don't know what it's like to have no money, it's a bit irritating. And I say this as someone who, I also think that I'm probably the same kind of level as Becky. I don't know what it's like to have no money in that deeply scary way, but I wouldn't, you know, paint myself as like the biggest victim in the world. And then all her problems get solved because someone likes her and figures that she deserves a break. She's had nothing but breaks. And I'm done with book 2. Oh, I need to stretch my legs. I've been on that sofa the entire time. This one I really enjoyed. It was very, very funny. It had more like laugh out loud moments in the first one, but it also had more completely farcical moments on the first one. And I did start to get really, really irritated at Becky's lack of awareness of her own privilege, as I said. And also her flatmate is fucking her cousin. What's going on? So next, I think I need to get moving a little bit. So I'm going to do some exercise. So I'm going to get book 3 as an audiobook so that I can listen to it while I do some moving. So I made it clear to RG that I don't want to walk by myself, so he has to come with me, but I can't talk to him because I'm busy.
And then she's talked to me in that red.
We have done one full lap of the park while I've been talking non-stop, but I'm stopping now. Okay, And now I'm going to do my exercise, but first, two things to update on. Firstly, hi to Asma, who just saw me in the park. This is the first time that's ever happened to me. It was very exciting. Someone stopping me and like recognizing me from here. So hi, I was in the middle of my readathon. So that was very fun. The second thing to update you on is in the book, what is wrong with this family? So the flatmate is now marrying her cousin, and on the morning of the wedding, the mother of the bride is like talking about his penis and how well endowed all of the Cleith Stewart men are. That's why they never get divorced. What is up with that family? Stop marrying each other.
Danny, is a Miu Miu skirt a household expense? I say. Absolutely, says Danny, coming into the living area. You see?
At 4 p.m. it is a little early in the day to have changed into my onesie, but on 24-hour readathon days, the concept of time does not exist. It's also a little late in the day to be making lunch, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Sue me.
So, did you hear? Says Danny morosely. Hear what? Mrs. Watts is selling.
Burrito assembly station. We have tortillas. We have coriander rice. We have some roasted to the point of being slightly burnt butternut squash. We have refried beans. We have avocado. We have chipotle dressing. Gonna grate some cheese. How is your burrito rolling technique? Is it good? Even though I missed some of the ingredients.
Very nice.
Good. I didn't quite follow the recipe exactly. Right, it's time to switch back to reading the physical book, but here's the thing, the audiobook, the chapters don't sync up. So this is going to be really hard to find my place. What was the last thing I heard?
Wow, this is actually quite nice.
What are the chances? I literally opened a random page and the first thing I saw was, wow, this is actually quite nice. I found my place. I thought that was going to be hard and it was so easy. Okay, I think it's time to have my first Diet Coke of the readathon. I've held out pretty well. It's quite alarming switching from the audiobook back to the physical book and realizing how not far through I am. And I've been listening to this for hours. I don't like speeding up my audiobooks, it just like ruins the experience for me, so it goes a lot slower than physically reading. I'm definitely supposed to be on at least book like 5 by now, and I'm not even halfway through number 3. But you know what? We're having a grand time, and I've got all night. I'm just a pile of blankets with the bottom sticking out. Becky Bloomwood is the most stressful character I've ever read about. Stop getting yourself in so much trouble. She just like avoids everything and it is stressing me out. As a person who likes to deal with issues straight away, I don't like it. Oh my god, this bitch gets away with everything. She never has to learn a lesson in her life. I spoke too soon. It's not over yet. I'm genuinely so tense. She's come up with some like massive solution to her problem and I can't work out what it is. Tell me, I want to skip ahead. Okay, lol. This is a stupid solution, but I kind of love it. Okay, I take that back. I would love it if she had been honest with anyone to do this, but she just lied some more. All she ever does is lie, and then she gets away with it, and she never has to learn to be honest and be brave and admit to the things that she does wrong. I hate her. I love her, but I hate her. Okay, I finished this one. My god, she just gets more and more ridiculous as a person. So it's quite a nice little break now that the next book is just like the very mini one. I've got it on my Kindle. It's just like 20 pages or something and it's the story of their honeymoon. So I'm going to read that next. Okay, let's take this bitch on her honeymoon. Oh, that's it. It's over. That really was short. And once again, she got her way without having to learn or compromise on anything. This is getting ridiculous. The next book I think is called Shopaholic and Baby. So what's she gonna do when she has like a whole other life to consider? Oh, it's not. I was wrong. That's the next one. But this one is called Shopaholic and Sister. I used to have a sister. Where are you? This title made me miss my sister, so I came up here to hang out with Archie, but then he's instantly leaving the room. Bye!
I didn't want to be here.
Bye! Alone again.
Settling in, settling down.
Just in case you wanted an update on the family from hell, the woman who married her cousin has 3 kids with him now. Gross, 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 gross. Oh, and the woman who married her cousin is now worried that her babies might be gay. offensive. You married your cousin. So she has to amuse a room full of children for 10 minutes while they're waiting for the entertainer, and they're all like shouting her to do a trick and she doesn't know what to do, so she takes her bra off through her shirt. That makes up for all of the other shit she's done. It is 9:30 at night and I need to order Domino's before it closes. I can't get through a 24-hour readathon without pizza. While this character, like, fully sucks, I completely love the way that everything she does, she thinks that she is the best person at it and that she has always had a secret affinity, and that deep down she always knew she had a secret affinity for painting or yoga or riding, whatever it is. But then like 5 minutes into actually trying it, she's like, it's boring, I don't like it. Luke is a shit, and where the fuck is my pizza? I really need a wee, but I haven't been going in case I'm in the loo when the pizza arrives. Hurry up, pizza. I need a wee. Oh no, I've just remembered she's gonna do that thing where she stays up all night because we're up all night and then she gets so tired.
She gets so tired.
It's here! As well as pizza, I also got these new little vegan nugs. Delish. I'm already 7 hours behind schedule, so might as well take a break to watch our new favourite Netflix show.
And Glenn's real voice is not that.
Yeah, has anyone seen Superstore? This is not his real voice.
Tori, cover your shift. You just get some rest.
I'm so happy whenever pizza's here. Sister to the rescue. Okay, not quite the sister relationship that I have with mine. It's not as much fun, this one. But finally, this bitch is getting the lecture that she deserves from her older sister. If you get into trouble, your parents bail you out. And if they don't, Luke does. Your whole life makes me feel sick. This is how I feel, Becky. I should lecture Sophie more often. That could be fun. I've got a little hippo warming my feet and it's very cozy. Okay, amazing, hilarious twist at the end of this, which I really enjoyed. And also, the perfect cliffhanger to lead straight into the next book, which is Shopaholic and Baby. And it's basically exactly midnight. Just 7 hours to go, and 5 books to go. Archie went on a shopping expedition for me earlier and said he got me some treats. So I'm going investigating to see what he got. This is just what I wanted! Cookies! This is a good cookie. Okay, to set the mood for Shopaholic and Baby, I'm going to change again into actual pyjamas this time. Partly because that's something to do, and partly because I'm bored of having to take the entire onesie off every time I need a wee. And then I'm going to light some candles and make it like really cozy downstairs. Am I 5 books in only just noticing? Do they all start with "Okay, don't panic"? Please hold. Book 1. Okay, don't panic. Book 2. Okay, don't panic. How did I not notice this till right now? Book 3. Okay, don't panic. Book 4. Oh, this one ruined it. But now we're back to "Okay, don't panic." Why would you do that? Why would this one mess it all up? Now I don't feel confident what's going to happen with these next ones. But I don't want to look and find out. It's going to have to be an exciting surprise. There's a plant in my shop. This bit just made me laugh. So she's talking about how her husband has been so nice to her through her pregnancy, when she's getting these weird pregnancy cravings for odd combinations. Like the other day I had this sudden weird desire for pineapple and a pink cardigan, and Luke drove me to the shops to get both. She'll never change. I suddenly got this feeling of I've been on that sofa for so long I never want to be on it again. So now I'm lying on the floor next to it. Feels like a whole new world down here.
It's been a good day, now it's time for us to
I have a secret. I'm getting tired. And it's only 12:30. Maybe I'll have more tea.
Now it's time to have some fun. Let's get high. Tonight's the night. Let's smoke this and then we can slide.
good. I found a new unflattering angle to film myself from. Yippee! Can I go to bed now? When we did the Princess Diaries readathon, the first line of the first Princess Diaries book is, "Sometimes it feels like all I ever do is lie." But then I didn't even remember that character particularly lying very often. That should have been the first line of this book, because literally all she ever does is lie. I want to get up because lying in this position is making me sleepy. But Hippo is asleep on me. Oh, she's opened her eyes. Okay, well, she was asleep on me. And it's so sweet. I don't want to move her. Archie also got me some mozzarella sticks earlier, so maybe I'll whack some in the air fryer. We have an air fryer and it's my favourite thing. Air fryer. Hippo really wants me to sit back down. You just want to snuggle up, don't you? You're so cute. Let me try putting her to bed like she's a child. Will this work? Come on, baby. Why don't you go to sleep there for a bit? And then I just sneak away. That wasn't as smooth as I was hoping and I fell over. Both of these characters suck. Luke goes out for dinner with like old uni friends and he's like, we talked about things I haven't even thought about in years. Like politics. He hasn't thought about politics in years? Who invented mozzarella sticks and was it Jesus? Jesus Christ, too hot to eat. Bad Jesus. I miss vegetables. These two sneaky little freaks can't be honest with each other for 1 second. Sneaky little freaks. Wait, is this really happening? Or has Becky just come across a bigger liar than her? I slightly burped halfway through that sentence. Please don't call the baby Ermintrude. I will pay you money not to call the baby Ermintrude. The fact that this is called Mini Shopaholic now has a double meaning that I get now. Okay, let's do this. This is probably going to be the last one that I have time for before my 24 hours is up. So in this one it looks like we're going to jump forward 2 years because she now has a 2-year-old who is also a shopaholic. Classic. Oh, but wait, the bit that I'm most excited about is to find out, is this book going to start with, okay, don't panic? I'm going to leave you on tenterhooks before I find that out because one of my candles has gone out, so I need to relight it. Wow, what a cliffhanger. Hippo agrees. Time to put you out of your misery. Okay, don't panic. We're back on track. Oh, this one's sad. And I'm tired. Can I read the rest of this book with only one eye open? Here's what I'll say about Miss Bloomwood, or Mrs. Brandon, or whatever the fuck her name is now. She's just getting less and less and less relatable as this series goes on. And I was trying to think about why is it that I find her so much less relatable and like feel annoyed by her being so privileged, more so than a character like Bridget Jones, for example, who I love and find very, very relatable. And I think that the reason is Bridget Jones, yes, is a privileged character, but her character flaws and the things that make her relatable are much more universal. It's like her being a bit awkward, her being a bit embarrassing, her being a bit self-centered, her trying her best but not always getting it right, her being hard on herself. Like anyone in any position in life can relate to those emotions. Whereas Becky, her character flaws and the bits that we're supposed to feel like, oh, she's just getting things wrong again, are her spending her very rich husband's money on silly things, or like not getting the 8-bedroom house that they're supposed to be moving into. So she doesn't really have like character flaws to relate to. At this point in the series, she's just an incredibly rich woman whose entire personality and storyline revolves around being incredibly rich. And then she has this husband who basically just at every single occasion doesn't show up because he's been sucked into some work emergency, which is always to do with managing the money of very, very rich people. So it's just like all set in a world that feels so alien to me and very like unlikable to me. I am still enjoying this series and I am still finding it funny. I'm just finding her very, very irritating. Whereas in book 1, while I laughed at her for being a bit posh, I did feel like she was a character that I could see myself in and relate to and enjoy. And like I thought she was awesome as a character, whereas now it's more just, it's like a bit of a hate read at this point, but with some good jokes sprinkled in. We're changing scenery again just to shake things up and relight this candle. Oh my goodness, it's like it's this morning all over again. This, by the way, is from Grace and Honey. This is a shop run by a booktuber, Becca in the Books, and this smells absolutely delicious, and it's called I Like Big Books, and I cannot lie, if you can't see that on the screen, I don't think it's in focus. Imagine being asleep right now. I'm probably just being grouchy now because it's like 5 in the morning, but this character is just becoming so much less interesting. So the whole way through the whole series, you've had these really funny letters. So you show letters that are being written to Becky from usually banks or like shopping centres where she has loyalty cards, kind of anything. And I've always found them really funny. From the letter written to her, you get an idea of what she tried to write to them. So like when it was her banks, they'd be writing saying, "I'm sorry to hear that you've broken your leg," for example. That wasn't a particularly funny one. That was like the first one she ever did. They got more and more ridiculous. So you would see the hilarious things she was doing. Or like one series that was really good was when she was writing her will and she kept making amendments. But you never see her amendments. You just see the reply from the people being like, "Yes, we've updated it too." And then from that you get the gist of what she said, and they were really funny. But now I'm just finding them irritating. So she's 29 now. She's my age. She is not supposed to be stupid. That was what was interesting about her before, is like she didn't know that much about finance because she wasn't interested in it, and she wasn't very good with money because she had a bit of a shopping addiction, but she was still supposed to be an intelligent person, and that's kind of how she managed to bluff her way through so many things with a few minor embarrassing moments. Whereas now she's such a caricature. It's like she's not an intelligent person at all. So in this one, we just have a letter being sent to her from the Director of Policy Research, replying to a letter that Becky sent to the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And in her letter, she basically was giving advice to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and the advice being, look around and sell some things you don't need. She didn't used to be this stupid. She didn't used to be a silly enough character to think that it would be a helpful thing to write to the Chancellor of Exchequer and tell him to just write down everything that he spends. She just doesn't feel like a real person anymore. That's my grouchy thoughts. And in book 1, I felt like she was really comparable to Bridget Jones, whereas by now I'm like, Bridget Jones is a person that if I met in real life I would want to be friends with, whereas Becky Bloomwood I would never want to be friends with. She's a posh, silly nightmare. I hate her, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her, I hate her.
I'm not trying to slow down.
Wait, what? This is the weirdest storyline. They discovered that the house they've just bought that has like 8 bedrooms in it, some of the bedrooms had been stolen from the adjoining house next door. The developer had just knocked through the wall and stolen the bedrooms from next door. What? And they had been saying like, oh, it looks bigger on the inside than the outside, and that's because they'd stolen the bedrooms from next door. What? She had run out of plot lines at this point. We're into the final hour. I didn't know that could feel this good. Sleep is coming.
And you and I are feeling just right now. 'Cause halfway is right where I wanna stay. But I can see what's going on in your mind.
I'm really running out of positions to read in. Look, I'm sorry, Becky Bloomwood, but I'm trying to throw my husband a massive birthday party with fire eaters and a light-up dance floor, but I can't take the money out of our joint account because he'll see it, is not a relatable problem. And also, because short books don't have to be relatable, it is also not an interesting problem. Oh, I've got an idea. I'll get the money from my Employee of the Year, which I was awarded for using my contacts to help the business. I didn't actually do anything except have famous friends. You stay up till 7 in the morning for this? Look at those tired eyes. We're into the final 3 minutes of the readathon and I'm only this far through the book. This is going to be my biggest fail of a whole series readathon. Okay, well let me just read as much as I can in the last few minutes. Time's up. Eek. So my 24 hours is up. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm just gonna pause this bitch right now for a minute because I was very sleepy at this point and it took me a long time to count out how many of the books in this series I had read and how many I had left, and you don't want to watch all of that, especially as I actually got the answer wrong. So this is me 2 days later just popping in to say I read 6.5 books out of this series of 10. Also, I'm gonna let her finish, but first I just want to say that the next day I woke up and finished Mini Shopaholic, and oh boy did I hate it. That book sucked so much. I'm gonna do a full review in Balancing the Books of why I hated this one so much, but it was the worst of all of them. Basically all of the reasons that I had been getting irritated at Becky come to a head in this piece of crap. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Okay, back to the sleepy little lady. These books are a lot bigger than any of the other series I've read, plus these are adult books, and so far when I've done big series videos like this, they've all been YA or middle grade, so they are just faster to read. So I'm not really surprised that I didn't get that far through this series. I would like to finish them at some point, especially the Christmas one. I would like to have caught up with the series in time for December so that I can read the Christmas one at Christmas. But overall, I was a bit disappointed with this series, especially considering how much I loved the early stuff. I think books 1 and 2 were very funny, and especially in book 1 I did find Becky Bloomwood a really fun character, but as the series went on she just became such a caricature of herself, and also her situation just got more and more and more privileged, and so I felt more and more and more detached from her. Plus she was doing grown-up shit like having a baby. I don't want that. For people who have read the rest of the series, do you think I will enjoy the later books? Like the criticisms that I have made, do you think that improves as the books go on, or will I just find myself getting more and more irritated? Funny enough, when I said in a different video that I was doing a Shopaholic readathon, someone did comment saying that they had like binge read the whole series in quarantine and that they'd spent a lot of time feeling annoyed about it. So if you are watching, was it for the same reasons that I felt annoyed about it? So there you go. I'm sorry that I didn't quite do a full series review for you, but see you at the end of the year, because by then I do plan to have read all of them. And despite my feelings about later in the series, I really do recommend at least book number 1, if not books number 1 and 2. Although even right from number 1, the ending was very unsatisfactory, I thought. But aside from the ending, this one was a really, really fun book, and I felt very nostalgic reading this. So I really would recommend that one. Probably number 2 as well. But beyond that, just be prepared to be irritated. Why am I even still here? I'm allowed to be in bed by now. I'm leaving right now.